Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Depths of Gaming, Episode 3. We normally start a half hour before this, but someone in their infinite wisdom forgot what coffee places close at what time, so they had to walk around like a moron. And yeah,
Hello.
we're already starting deep down in the depths this week. It didn't take us very long at all.
I guess not.
Yeah, that was brilliant.
So, what do we have for today, Necro?
Oh, we have all sorts of things today, Jahith. We have things that float, things that sink, things that are in space, things that are in dungeons.
Nice.
Yeah, it's frickin' intense.
Okay, so where do we start?
Well, Starbreeze Publishing has signed System Shock 3 from Other Side Entertainment.
Ooh.
Starbreeze are the guys who I can't remember whether they published or released it. I think they developed Payday 2.
I see. Yeah, I've heard that this is a very cool game. I believe that it's guys running around trying to rob banks.
Yeah, it's funny. It's a Left 4 Dead. It started as a pretty shameless Left 4 Dead spoof, and then in the second game it took off to kind of be its own thing.
Hmm. A lot of games recently turn from mods into fully fledged games. I think that's kind of fun.
Yeah, and they just got all sorts of different publishing contracts. Starbreeze did, so they are building on their success. Now,
Mm-hmm.
so here, and that's kind of why I'm pretty much okay with them publishing System Shock 3, because they're no strangers to wacky shooters and
Mm-hmm.
wacky games that are homages. I think they can deliver decently.
Okay. Now, I have two primary concerns
Of
with
course.
System Shock 3. One, who asked for this? And two, will it live up to the legend of the System Shock series?
Oh, I'll tell you who asked for this. Okay, for
Mhm.
one, System Shock 2 is a fucking gem. So much.
Oh yeah, I have no. Yeah, definitely, it's a gem. It's a legend.
Which, by the way, this is unrelated to the System
Hmm.
Shock remake that's being developed by a different studio.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For now, we're talking
that.
only about Starbreeze.
Yeah. By the way, that also looks awesome and should be looked at. But yeah, for now we're
Mhm.
talking about the Starbreeze. Well, it's Overdrive, and the thing about Other Side. Wow, so many names we have to learn now. Okay,
Mhm.
so Other Side, I didn't really see too much that they've done. I'm not entirely sure that they're the right developer for this,
Mhm.
because I think that they're too green and they're going to make a lot of mistakes.
I see.
Like, part because the thing is, the BioShock games were really good, but
Mhm.
they were a very poor representation of the previous game, System Shock 2.
Yeah. And that's basically what leads up to leads into my second worry, which is, will it live up to the legend? Because
Hmm.
the System Shock, as I said before, is legendary game. It's scary, it's terrifying, and it's properly horrific. The primary antagonist, AI Shodan, is not just AI like the one from the Terminator that just wants to kill you. Shodan wants to make you suffer. She will. She's not beyond taking you and making you a slave to silicon and metal, taking the power of your own body away from you to power her cybernetic army. She is not beyond mutilating women and brainwashing them into serving her new biological children and raising them.
Yeah, like one
She,
of
she
the scariest monsters in System Shock 2 are female crew members that she's warped into being like brood mothers for her children. It's really fucked up.
yeah, and I'm afraid that they will pander to the PG-13 rating. That's
Well,
my fear.
I think they won't because Payday's not PG. It's got cop killing up the wazoo. It's got blood. It's got. I'm pretty sure they curse.
Hmm.
Um,
However, I feel that there's a difference between just killing someone and making them suffer like a demon.
yeah.
This is more or less the reason why in the new Duke Nukem there wasn't any women bounded by like alien goop in a corner somewhere asking the Duke to kill them.
Yeah.
The, we do not live in the times of horror anymore.
Oh, that's hard to argue. There are plenty of horror games coming out that people are scared of.
Well, there's difference between being scared and being horrified. But I get what you're saying. It will definitely be a scary game, but my concern is, will it be as horrifying as the previous two entrances in the System Shock series?
Well, my concern's going to be character development because
Hmm.
the new craze is to ape the trait trees from World of Warcraft.
Hmm.
Is people have done that over and over and over and over again. And the thing with
Uh-huh.
System Shock 2 is it went with a more Dungeons and Dragons style trait system where you had your statistics and you increased them and you got better in that field.
Hmm.
And so I think they might fall into the trap of going, "Oh, they want an RPG system." And the only RPG they can think of is World of Warcraft. So it's just going to be like, "Oh, you pick the traits in the tree and certain traits do this and here's the perfect build for this trait and perfect build for I don't that's not really what we want.
Yeah, I believe that in System Shock and System Shock 2, Shodan was kind of rewarding you. No, it's System Shock 2. Shodan was rewarding you for your
Yeah.
uh, for your completion of
She
quests.
would give you modules for doing her
Hmm.
missions,
Exactly.
and she continues to give you modules after the reveal to
Hmm.
fuck with you and to go,
Yeah,
you are serving my purpose, so I will give you crumbs.
yeah. You are dependent on me, little bug. You will do as I say, or I
Yeah,
will
it's
punish you.
none of this that's the other thing that they fucked up in Bioshock is they reused the same shtick from System Shock 2 and
Hmm.
didn't do it anywhere near as well. Now the Would You Kindly thing was pretty neat, but that was the only like cool part of that. They could have done it better.
I agree, but then again, Bioshock had its own, like, a little bit of an agenda. It also wasn't all
Well,
that horrifying, right?
their whole thing was to make fun of Ayn Rand. That was their whole
Hmm.
mission in that storyline. And I'm pretty sure they're making fun of like socialism or something in Infinite. Um, cuz that's the other thing with Infinite is did you notice that BioShock Infinite did not focus on the world it was built in at all? It focused
Uh,
almost entirely on just getting you through it.
I guess it. They were also trying to show you the futility of your choices, that your choices do not matter.
Yeah, that too. Is that it's a cool concept, but it's counterintuitive to what we wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Because the whole point of RPG game, of course, is to make a bunch of choices. The whole thing we bitched about in 2 was how the choices didn't really matter that much. The whole
Mm-hmm.
and the whole thing with the Bioshock games in general is they were built extremely linearly. System Shock too, you could go here, there, anywhere. There was still a linear aspect to it, but you had a
Mm-hmm.
lot more mobility in how you could do it.
Yeah, you had basically zones between which you could travel, and the only reason why they were blocked off is in order to make sure that you have the proper knowledge and proper
Yeah,
skills
they,
required to survive in that zone.
they designed it with the Metroidvania type shtick in mind.
Yes, but other than that, you could move wherever the hell you wanted.
Mm-hmm. You could
Similar to,
immediately.
actually to the Witcher series, right? The Witcher 3. You also have zones there that you can freely travel, and they are largely open worldish. Every zone is like its own open world.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
so
I'm.
yeah, I mean, I'm excited because there's no question whether or not Shodan survives at the end of at the end of 2. It's like um it's like that the Battlestar Galactica, how the Cylons win in the end anyway.
Mhm.
It's Shodan is the ultimate, like, yeah, you can pretend to kill me all you want, it's not gonna happen, but you can live the dream. It's
Well, I am really kind of on the fence here. How are they going to make how they're going to start the story? Because we defeated Shodan like twice. The
yes,
second time around, Shodan was creating its own reality. However, the problem here is, well, is this going to be a world that is dominated by Shodan and we are trying to survive in it, or is it a world in which Shodan was destroyed and somehow one of her floppy disks still survived, and someone unknowingly plugged it in?
that's right. The uh, yeah, that's right. uh well, I'm hoping that they do what they almost have never done so far, which is give us a chance to walk around before the chaos happens. And I mean more than what Doom 3 tried to do, or the Doom 3 hand wave, which is, oh yeah, you walk around a level and at the end of the level bad shit happens. No, I want more than just walking around for like half 10 minutes.
Hmm. Yeah, it would serve very great a point to get sucked into the world, to
Yeah,
get yourself immersed, and
like
then when the shit happens, it actually impacts you emotionally.
Half Life played with it. Is in the beginning you're doing an experiment, everything's cool, and then it goes, and then when you're like, are you sure this machine's safe? Well, of course, Mr. Freeman, you tested it. Oh, I am an awesome scientist. Oh God.
The Freeman's mind comes into mind, right?
Yeah, but that's
So
what I'd want out of a System Shock 3. Is I would like it, like you're on a spaceship and you run into the jettisoned
mhm.
Shodan pod, and at first you're like, oh yeah, whatever, and then you find the AI and the AI is like, oh, I'm a helpful AI, I was jettisoned, there was a crash. I'm like, okay, nothing shady there. Then an hour in, suddenly people are dying and like warped and shit, and you're going, Uh,
Yeah, I when it comes to Shadow, I'm sure that whatever they do, I want it to be uh, as scary as horrific as the original.
absolutely.
And basically, what I feel like should happen, and we can talk about shoulda, woulda, coulda all damn day, because it's so fascinating world
Because
to speculate in.
let's take System Shock
Hmm.
2 as an example. Is for like 10 minutes, whole game starts, you're walking into a fucking recruiting office and you do the
Hmm.
tutorials, and that's like 10-20 minutes, and then you get to choose what like assignments you go on in whatever branch you
Yeah,
choose.
yeah. Those will determine your like starting
Those are your
stats.
yeah, those are your stat bonuses that you start with. So the game just kind of lulls you into calm, and then you wake up and you're in a fucking decompressurizing compartment.
Hmm. Yeah, and what's interesting about both of the games, both System Shock 1 and System Shock 2, is the fact that you do not interact with any NPCs. Not
None whatsoever.
no. The the only time you see a healthy human being is when they're dead and they're ghosting.
Yeah.
Which only adds to the atmosphere of being alone in an environment that is dominated by forces beyond your control that are trying to kill
This
you.
is another thing that BioShock failed in, is they gave you these characters that were behind plot glass
Yeah.
until whatever happened and you get the choice to kill them or save them.
Hmm.
Like that was part of why Deus Ex 2 was total shit, because everyone was always behind plot glass.
Bioshock 2, the Infinite War, you mean, right? No, the Invisible War.
Yeah, Invisible War. So there were like there was two forms of it. So there were areas where you had to give up your weapons and go in, and you talk to mission specific the plot NPCs, or they were
Hmm.
conveniently behind some kind of means where you couldn't kill them,
Hmm.
because at the end of the game is when you get to kill them.
I guess uh, that's that makes sense. However, I
Because they
think
don't want
though,
you to sequence break because you're supposed to be able to kill them later. But I hate that
yeah,
because you're basically telling the player, by the way, these characters are important to the plot, and so
you
you're
should
supposed to
not kill
care
them.
about them. Instead of forcing the player to come with some kind of relationship to these characters.
I guess they are doing that in order to force realism on us because uh, in the confines
You're
of this
not all
story, there is no reason for your character to kill them, right?
Yeah, but do you have to put a giant invincible barrier between us
That's true.
just
That
to prove this?
I definitely agree on that point because uh, a skilled computer game designer could realize this in a different way.
Because in Morrowind, there were a handful of NPCs that if you killed them, you just could no longer complete the game's main quest because they were quest NPCs.
But you could continue to play.
But you could still play.
Yeah, that's something that I actually like, and side quest didn't actually suffer for that.
Yeah. Anywho, let's move on to the next guy here.
Hmm.
Crawl has finally got its release date after 2 years. Well, 2.5 actually, but 2.5 years of early access. I've had this game almost since it entered early access, and it has really grown. It's one of the good examples. I used to hold Clockwork Empire as a good example until halfway in their production cycle they threw out their entire game and made something different, which I still don't understand. But anyways,
I
Power
definitely
Hook.
agree with you on the point that we should definitely support game developers that actually try to deliver the product that they started with in early access.
Absolutely, because people look at the bad launches and go, "Well, this is why early access games can't be trusted." And well, there's always going to be risks. It's a risky platform.
Hmm.
You are investing in the possibility that this game will be released, and
Hmm.
so it's just
But not
like
a
buying
guarantee that
it.
it will be
It's
released.
just like buying bad games on Steam. There's no guarantee that you will like what you buy. There is no
Yeah,
guarantee
you
whatsoever.
you can buy a game that has mostly positive reviews or overwhelmingly positive reviews and still don't like it.
Because my issue with me is when
Mhm.
I sit down a game, I will play it for at least 8 to 10 hours before I come with my final judgment, and that's past the 2 hours that Steam allows for as its only like rule for giving you back your money because it doesn't.
Mhm.
And also, you can't have it on your account for more like 2 weeks. It doesn't matter if you played a game for like half an hour, decided it's horrible, and then realize later, oh yeah, I can sell that. I could give this back and get my money back.
Mhm.
They don't allow that. I've
Yeah,
I've
they're putting on some limits there.
because
Yeah.
I've never been accepted because I never have the chance to do that,
Mhm.
and I've gone with them like, hey, this game is broken, or hey, this game is no longer being supported. They just are allowed to deny it without saying anything.
However, to
Steam
be
support in general is
Mhm.
shit.
However, to be fair, there are games out there that you do not really actually need 2 hours to decide that they are shit. Like, for example, For Fun or Digital Homicide's game.
Yeah, there's some games where you shouldn't. It shouldn't take you as long as I do. Like I'm an I'm an exception to that. So, Crawl is a local multiplayer dungeon game where one
Yes.
player is the hero and the other three players are ghosts of their fellow adventurers who
Hmm.
are haunting him.
Yes.
And so the hero runs around roguelike style, goes to other rooms. However, many of the rooms have pentagrams in them, which the other players can jump into in order to turn into a monster from the god they revere.
Hmm.
And as the hero kills these monsters, he levels up. And every time you level up, the ghost players get more essence in order to unlock stronger monsters.
So basically, it's a kind of game where one player tries to complete a dungeon and three other players try to um,
Yeah,
fuck him over.
they're trying to kill him because when the
Yes.
hero dies, whoever landed the last blow becomes the hero.
Yeah.
So, it turns into this crazy party game of trying to do as much damage and surviving as long as you can with your monsters.
It's basically outsourcing. It's basically crowdsourcing the enemy AI.
Yes. Because the number one argument of everyone is fighting AI monsters gets really predictable and really boring. Well, the most
Hmm.
obvious way to fix that is to make the players the monsters. And there have been games that have toyed with this before, like the X Men Legends, I believe they are the Gauntlet style X Men games they made for console. They had a
I
mode where
see.
you could play the monsters and boss.
Ooh, I haven't played those, so I can't really say much about that.
It was kind of fun, but because of the way the
Hmm.
game was designed, it felt really limited. This game was based all around being able to play the monsters, so it's better in that regard.
I see. Well, uh, it's definitely sounds like a very interesting game, but it's not really. I've seen the trailers, I've seen the gameplays. I don't really feel like it's a game for me. You know, I've seen a lot of those games that are kind of, I call them mini games genre. It's it's a very simple game that has like 2 or 3 interesting features that are combined by an interesting that are combined by a gag, basically. Something that makes it fun. I don't really like it, but I do see the appeal that other people might have it. Even though the content of the game itself is like 15 to 20 minutes, it can
Oh
still be
no. Oh, trust me,
well.
it takes far longer than that because
Uh,
how the
I, I
game because here's
I
how the
understand.
game works
How
is
let me explain something. I see a difference between amount of content expressed in minutes and the gameplay. Okay, I've totally agree that the gameplay might take hours upon hours,
oh,
but the
that's your
amount of
argument. Well, you're still
yes.
fucking wrong because there
Okay.
so there are currently two final bosses, and they in the trailer they just in the launch trailer they teased a third boss that looks like some kind of
Hmm.
spellcaster, and how the boss works is all the ghost players can jump into a different segment of the boss,
I see.
and so you're gonna fight a different boss each time. So there's some replay value. There's an unlock system, so
Hmm.
you're gonna fight. It's gonna take you a few playthroughs before you see everything. Each different each different god character has different monsters and unlocks. So it's gonna take you a while to see all of that.
Yeah, that's all
It
gameplay.
it's well, that's content.
Yes, that's content. But if there was no gameplay that prevented you from going through that content, it would take only 15 to 20 minutes to go through it.
I'm not understanding your argument
I know it's a very weird kind of frame of mind that I'm in.
because
I don't blame you, but it's basically I'm watching at the content itself, not really at how you get to the content. If I were to, for example, cheat and unlock everything, how long would it take me to basically go through every single monster, every single
oh, to see
uh,
everything, it would still take you a
yeah.
good like 4 to 5 to 6 different playthroughs.
Yeah, definitely. However, that's what I mean. This is uh, the game doesn't really have a meat similar one to.
It's a party game, dude. Like
Yes. I understand completely. But uh, what I'm saying is that style of game is not what I like. Right. That's the only thing that I'm trying to explain.
well, that is awesome. When we do the stuff Christian likes show, we will not put it on there.
I'm sorry,
I'm
but
teasing. It's
uh,
fine. Anyways, about
I
the
know you're
news.
teasing. It's
Uh,
just I, it's basically it feels like I have to say that this is not something. In order for our viewers to actually
no,
know,
I
yeah,
get it.
what's my style, right?
I get it. Uh, did you know that they put Gabe Newell in this game?
I've noticed there was like
Because
a trailer in which Gabe Newell actually fights the character. Like,
yeah,
uh,
there's statues in well, now it's almost everything could be interacted with as a ghost,
mhm.
but they're big old statues that are kind of nudged in the corner sometimes. A ghost can turn in can possess the statue and it becomes a monster. And
Mhm.
as a rare spawn, there's a statue of Gabe Newell.
It's a very nice Easter egg, I have to say. From what I saw of the trailer, is that it's very nicely animated, even though this is a very pixelated kind of
Well, it's
art
pretty
style.
pixels.
Yeah.
It's
I,
not it's not supposed to be Sega era. It's more like stylized.
yes, I would compare the art style to Kingdom, New Lands, for
Mm.
example, or Fist of Awesome. There's another one that is very interesting that is called Crypt of the Necrodancer. It's all a nuclear throne. They all have that kind of pixely, animated, bouncy feel to them.
Yeah, like I'm personally very happy that Crawl made it through early access and is about to get released, because not only it made a lot of great movement during its development. For one, every
Hmm.
couple months they put in a new monster. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Every couple and about I have no idea when they actually did it. They did it a
Hmm.
while ago. Is what is they made it so now it's they showed a lot in the new release trailer. Is there's a scene before the game starts where instead of choosing a random player to be the hero like it used to, all the it depicts all the players descending into madness, and then they try to kill each other, and the person left standing is the starting hero.
Nice.
So instead of just the player starting as ghosts, they explain what's going on.
That's actually quite interesting because I always like if when a game has lore and content, this story type content in it. That's very interesting to me, and it gets you into that spirit of getting into the world of a game.
Absolutely. And just that little scene is great because it tells the players, oh, okay, that's why I'm dead. I am haunting this guy.
He's a dick.
Instead of, you're a ghost, haunt this guy.
Hmm. That actually makes sense. So, yeah, actually, I would not be beyond actually playing this with you. However,
Unfortunately, it does not
does it
have
have?
online multiplayer. No,
Ah,
it's strictly couch co-op, and that is the one biggie that's probably gonna keep Crawl kind of as a niche game, and that's very
mm,
unfortunate. However, the netcode on this thing would be a fucking nightmare
yeah, definitely. I see that there would be a lot
because
of
there's a lot of movement, there's a lot of hit detection. It's just
yeah.
not gonna work
Even the smallest latency, even the smallest ping would be devastating for this game.
because this game relies entirely on that Street Fighter style like precision.
Yeah. Oh, you have a ping of 120? Well, I guess you suck then.
Yeah, so I'm just being realistic from a coding perspective. Like it just wouldn't work.
It's a shame, but
It's
I
unfortunate.
see the appeal. Will the game be available for single player games?
Oh yeah, it already has offline bots, so you can play it by yourself. And by the way, the hard AI recently got buffed so that it's really really fucking hard. I used to just play through hard for fun, and then I
Hmm.
tried that recently, and I was like, holy shit, they've really improved the bot AI.
So there's definitely experience for the hardcore player there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, don't get me wrong. This is one of those games where you could play it solitaire and still have a good time because you could set
Hmm.
it to a full game and all that. You can even play with two players and have two bots. You can do it. You can do that all you want.
All the combinations of bots and
Any
players
combinations. Yeah,
I
they
assume are available. Yeah.
yeah. And
Nice.
the funny thing is, the game has profiles, but if you lose against the boss, your profile gets eaten by the boss.
What are profiles?
You know, like you can have it so your character name is like Rob or Chris or something like that. The boss
Oh, I
eats
see.
eats your name if you lose against it.
I see. So But you can still recreate it, right?
Yeah, you could. Yeah, it doesn't like track any progress or anything. It's more
I
of a
see.
fluff thing. Like
The only progress is in terms of skill of individual player, rather
right,
than.
because the
Uh,
unlocks are tracked by the game in total.
I see, makes sense. And because it's a local co-op only, I assume that only unlocks stay with the owner of the game.
Yeah, it's by the game.
Hmm.
It's so playing with 4 players are going to quickly unlock a bunch because they'll all be trying different monster combinations. That's going to unlock a bunch of monsters, and
Hmm.
then yeah, you're gonna because does take a while to unlock everything because of how it's set up. Really fun game. It's really good.
Yeah. Okay, so that was awesome.
I'm looking forward to the new boss. By the way, the new boss is some kind of lich or something. The trailer was showing off that it was like flinging bolts and it had
Hmm.
these like obelisks that were set up and they were like channeling energy too
I see. Yeah, so the game sounds pretty fun.
because they were begging
Not
for a
my
new
kind of
boss
fun,
forever.
but still fun.
Oh, don't worry. I'm sure someone will make some game about like giant dicks that you'll absolutely love, and you'll be like, oh, let's
Oh,
play the dick game.
definitely. Oh, definitely.
Now on to answers nobody wanted. After I check and see. Okay. Hypothetical. How could I
Always,
say?
always a good sign when you start your question with a hypothetically.
Yeah, that doesn't cast shade on you at all. How could I slay my own party and become the campaign's big bad evil guy? I've always thought it was a really cool concept. Play as a secretly lawful evil character in a party of adventurers, using them to accomplish my own goals. Once my goals have been achieved, I would strike them all down, possibly taking one of them as my charge. But how would I go about this? Let's brainstorm the perfect party killer. What would my character need to take down the rest of the party after they help me accomplish my plans? What class would work with? I'm assuming probably a high level wizard with the right spells. I'd be able to charm the tank and use them against the rest of the party while blasting the rest of them from behind. What spells should I take? What would best turn the tide of battle in my favor and then destroy those? But can words. Is there even a spell I could use that will allow me to command one of my members? Is there a powerful magic or item or artifact that I could use against my party?
Hmm.
Would this work in a party of 4? I could charm 1, 2 versus 2. He keeps saying charm, but I'm almost entirely sure charm doesn't work that way.
Now, charm is not going to let you do anything that the character would normally do.
Like, I'm gonna look it up right now, but I
Hmm.
already almost entirely know that charm doesn't work that way. It takes them out of the fight, but it doesn't let you tell them to attack people. Like,
Hmm.
command. They changed how command works, so that you can't do crazy shit like you could before.
Okay, my initial thoughts on the subject. Unless you want to be hated by everyone in your party,
By the way,
don't do it.
X Dalen is the one that
Hmm.
is asking this question.
Yeah, Exdalen. If you uh, do this, don't expect to be liked by the party members
Or have friends.
or have friends. Exactly. My best suggestion is collaborate with your dungeon master because that's definitely a good idea. However, it has to be executed in a way that is coherent with the story that the dungeon master has in mind. So you can't just suddenly say, Mwahahaha, I'm evil, now you all die. That would be unfair to the to other players, and definitely to the dungeon master, who just now has his entire story that he planned fucked over.
Yeah.
So,
So for instance, let's look at there's an episode of Harmon Quest where one of the players is a tiefling bard, and his
mhm,
shtick is he wants to be a dock worker, but because he's a tiefling, they won't let him into the union.
mhm.
It's actually pretty accurate. Uh, so when they have an encounter with the dockmaster, he says, "Well, I'm gonna make the tiefling kill you guys," and they go, "Well, why would he want to do that?" "Well, he wants to join the union." He was like, "Wait, I could join the union if I kill these guys?" And then for a couple turns, he attacks them, kind of like doesn't really do that much. The other monsters he summons do most of the work, but he eventually goes, I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna keep attacking you guys because nothing's worth the shit. But yeah, he basically has a moment where he turns on the party and then he comes to his senses. That's cool. That's role playing. Like
Mhm.
that makes sense. What doesn't make sense is going, I am lawful evil, and the law says that you can't be any alignment other than evil. Stab, stab,
You
kill,
die.
maim. Uh, no. No, sir, that is not appropriate.
For me, a lawful evil character would be someone like. Have you ever watched Death Note from
Yeah,
anime Death Note?
you're talking about the death god,
Yagami
right?
Light. Yes, that's basically for me a perfect type of character to backstab the party. He acts compassionately. He acts like a good person would act, but in the background he has agenda that will fuck everyone over if he is led to do it. So it basically becomes a cat and mouse game between the players, the dungeon master, and the evil character. Bonus points if no one knows who that character is. It's
So
basically a secret Hitler.
the thing with evil players that I struggle to understand is why they are obsessed with turning on the party, because there's nothing in the evil alignment that ever suggests that, oh,
Hmm.
you psychotically turn on your friends. It
Yeah,
never says that. It's
I think
just,
it panders to the general idea of I just want to show that I am better than you.
yeah, well, pe-
It's selfish. It's
people take
self-centered.
evil to mean psycho killer,
Hmm.
and I'm not always entirely sure why they draw this correlation. Maybe it's because we always have to kill the evil guy. Maybe it's because um, evil guys are always the enemy. It's this us versus them culture that we're used to. I don't know. But this is a common thing.
Hmm.
So the thing about being lawful evil is it's with lawful good. People always assume because they're lawful good, they have to psychotically murder everything that doesn't share their alignment. It again, it's this weird us versus them thing.
Yeah, it's basically the idea that evil equals killing. That's not necessarily true.
It
Evil is much more elaborate than that.
it
For anyone who would like to know what true evil is, I would suggest watching a movie called Omen, I believe that was the title of the movie. Basically, the main character of the movie is an antichrist, and he describes evil that perfect evil is pure and almost feels like innocence.
so by the way, I looked up charm person
Hmm.
and uh and it charms you. At higher levels, you can charm additional people. However, the deal with the charm status effect is, if I can find it. Wow, why is this so hard for me? Okay, can't attack the charmer or target with the charmer with harmful abilities. And the charmer has advantage on ability checks to interact socially with the creature. So, charming in combat just keeps them from ripping your guts out.
I see.
So in a combat sense, what you can do is you can try to charm everyone, and then the hope is that some of them don't try to attack you for a while. Because when they're fighting you, they get advantage.
Yeah. You can also use it outside of the encounter in order to gain an advantage.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it
charm
has
would
both out of an in-combat ability.
Yeah, so charm would definitely not be the skill used in order to turn on your...
I think dominate is what he wants.
Yeah, dominate or some other form of complete mind control.
Because dominate, I'm pretty sure is the one that makes them go kill.
Also, isn't there an issue with some of the alignment style spells like detect evil or basically holy areas that are aligned good that would burn a person that is evil?
Well, I'm pretty sure there is consecrated ground, just as there is defiled ground, hallowed ground. Well, yeah, there's
Defiled.
Yeah, there's good ground. Basically, there's good ground, evil ground, neutral ground. Almost all ground by default is neutral. However, there are ways to defile ground. There are ways to make ground holy.
Makes sense.
And I am, because consecrate, I'm pretty sure that's the paladin thing. Probably also a cleric thing. I know paladins do that shit a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I may be wrong. I don't see it. Yeah, okay. I do not see a consecrate spell, so I have no idea. But I know that detect evil and good can detect consecrated ground. Desecrated ground. Oh, wait, yeah, it says right here. Similarly, if you know if there's a place or an object within 30 feet of you that has been magically consecrated or desecrated. That was the human word I needed.
Yes.
Yes, so I'm pretty sure that's what holy water does, actually, is I think you pour the holy water on the ground and it consecrates it. Let me look.
I believe you can also pour it on your weapon, which temporarily consecrates it.
Holy water, as action, you splash it or throw it up to 20 feet. It does a bunch of fucking damage if it's undead. No, it says nothing about consecration. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to look that up later.
Yeah, it might be in the description of the skill itself, like consecrate weapon or holy weapon.
It's probably under a different name.
Yeah, and holy water is basically an ingredient in that spell.
Yeah.
Wait, are we still operating on ingredients in New D&D?
Yeah, there's still ingredients.
I see. Okay. I'm a little bit out of touch.
Well, the reason ingredients were kept is it's specifically to keep people from spamming those spells in Adventure League. because
Makes sense.
they based around a lot of D&D around a standardized experience while letting you have all of that character development potential that RPG should have.
Hmm.
Because at first I used to think that Adventure League rules were forced you to be really standardized, but then I realized that the way they design the classes and feats and traits and all that,
Hmm.
you can you can still make a pretty customized character with a diverse backstory, and with all of the supplement books that they've released, all like Volos,
Hmm.
you can still make some pretty interesting characters, and
I see.
they casualized the Adventure League and GM rules because there used to be like regional coordinators and like strict um, things, but now Adventure League now runs almost entirely on the honor system
Makes
because
sense.
there are these things called DM quests now, which are basically achievements that you get for DMing, and a lot of them are like jam a game, jam this module, jam that module, jam for this many hours, have new players, and they give you a bunch of like items and XP and shit that you can apply to an Adventure League character.
I see. That's interesting. I never was exposed to this because simply in Poland, I don't think there is something like that. But I would I would love to try creating a character for an adventure league.
Well, the thing about Adventure League is you have to go by array.
Hmm.
However, you are allowed to choose one other supplement to help build your character, and by that I mean you can use a race from one of the books and shit.
Hmm. Makes sense.
And you're and by the rules, you're usually not allowed to pick Arakakra, I believe. However, under the DM quest rules, you're
Hmm.
able. There's one you can get that allows you to become to start as an Arakakra. There's shit like that. They basically went, hey DMs, keep playing Adventure League, and you get to start with crazy OP characters. However, they don't let you start with legendary items as a DMP as a DMXP character. They're not that
Makes sense.
cruel.
Makes sense.
They don't hate their players that much. You still have to play for that.
Well, uh, however, returning to the topic of killing your party.
Yeah, don't do it.
Bottom line, don't do it unless you are a really experienced player and have really experienced GM. That's the only conditions that I would
Well,
find acceptable.
here's the thing: is when you're evil, take it out on the NPCs, take it out on other people.
And do it covertly.
And do it covertly if you can. Like, if you're a rogue, do that shit in secret. Don't steal from the party, steal from honest people. Like, go, hey, I'm
Mhm.
gonna do some scouting. Don't actually scout. Go break into some commoner's house.
Yes, as an evil person, you can lie, steal, murder, and cheat your
Yeah,
way out of any situation. But the problem
being
is,
chaotic
you have to have acting chops to do it.
is. Here's the thing: is people really underestimate what it means to be chaotic. Being chaotic means you skirt the rules when it helps you, and you cannot be trusted because you lie. You don't have to lie, but you're not trustworthy.
So, in your interest is making sure that even when you lie, people believe you as it is as absolute truth, which is very difficult to pull off. You
Like
thrive on
like
trust.
Lord Baelish in Game of Thrones. He he flat out told Ned Stark, "Don't trust me." Do not trust me. He trusted him. Ned's dead right now. Got his head chopped off as a traitor. Because he trusted Peter Baelish.
So, what did we learn today?
Don't
We learned
trust the
today
chaotic evil.
when you know they are chaotic evil.
He said, don't trust me. In Game of Thrones, your word is your honor. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
Ned wasn't very well. That and he admitted to the lawful evil that he had evidence. So, in general, being lawful good was being lawful stupid in his case. He's like, I have evidence. I'm going to go to my conspirators and bring it forth to you. Wait, conspirators, why are you turning... Wait, what? I was chaotic evil. Why did you trust me?
Yes. I told you not to do so. And you did it anyway. Now you have to pay.
That's what he does. He puts his knife to his throat to capture him and goes, I told you not to trust me. So going back to, again, this all somehow comes back to D&D, is that what this is, he's just gonna piss off the other people. Like, there are ways that he can become the big bad evil guy, but killing the party shouldn't be that way. Like, he can be with the party for a while, take out his aggressions on, like, townsfolk and shit, and eventually have an army and a keep, and, like, they go to the stronghold and they're looking like, we're looking for the Scarlet Rogue, and then he takes a few steps back, he goes, I'm right here, and all the guards come out and suddenly they're fighting him.
Yeah, I remember that I had a evil campaign. Basically, all characters were evil. And we fit ourselves inside different spectrums of evil. I was playing the psychotic, chaotic, evil for the sake of being evil and cruel and horrible. And I basically, the first thing I did was kill a dwarf guard that was guarding our cells. I skinned him with my spoon and then wear him as a cape. If you want to be that kind of evil, have everyone in your party be evil as well.
Yeah, pants on head crazy evil, like, that all requires PC, like, unity.
Cooperation. Yeah.
But when you're being the one secret evil character, you have to be smarter than going, hey DM, can I, like, kill everyone in their sleep?
Technically, a GM will say, well, there's nothing stopping you, right? But then again, there's that real life part of the game where you sit in front of other characters that who are real people that have real fists that are going to make contact really soon with your real face.
Yes. Yeah, he's just cruising for bruising, dude.
You have to realize that everyone put effort into their characters.
Yeah.
They created backstories. They rolled the items. It takes hours to create a decent character.
So and
you want to just kill them?
That's the other thing, is why
dickish.
Just kill them? Why? Because there are ways you can make this interesting by just knocking them out and using them as, like, part of a ritual, and, like, that's the end game, is you're stopping this, what you thought was your compatriot. He's trying to end the fucking world all of a sudden, and you're like, oh wow, we need to stop this guy right now.
Yeah, and there's the another like aspect to it. I don't know if you mentioned it. Is that everyone is a hero here,
Yeah.
and when you're killing them just like that, it's it's. I've heard many GMs telling stories about uh, their uh, their PC characters dying, and DM always tries to make it, if character is to die, make it meaningful, make
Well,
it
a lot of
as impactful
DMs.
as possible so that his death makes sense. If you just kill them in their sleep, then what's the point in playing?
So here's the thing: is a lot of DMs forget about the other planes of existence
Hmm.
because the assumption is you die, you die. Well, that's actually not true in D&D. Like we talked about a episode or two ago, your soul goes to the plane matching your alignment, and in other cases, it depends on what happened to you. There's
Hmm.
always the possibility that everyone's soul goes to the same plane, and then you're trying to like atone yourself for a god to get out or something like that. There's always there's always ways to continue on, really, in the craziness of D&D. And then there's always the fact that maybe you don't die. Maybe you get up as a revenant.
Yeah, I believe that there's this
There's an unearthed arcana for
Planescape
that.
setting, right?
Well, that's actually not a. The nameless one's actually kind of complicated because there aren't multiple guys like that. It's just him.
Hmm.
Uh, he's
I
actually.
mean, the entire setting of Planescape. Like, you go there.
Oh, Planescape in general. Well, that's the outer. So, they took Planescape and it's still in 5e. Sigil still exists.
Hmm.
It's it's in the DMG. The spire's there, and there's a ring around it that has a bunch of like towns that go to the different planes.
Hmm.
So, and it's said to be the like center of the multiverse.
Yes.
Sigil is.
Yeah.
But
The
yeah,
master of Sigil, the Lady of Knives, I believe, or
Lady of
Lady of
Pain.
Pain. Lady of Pain. Yeah.
So the thing, sorry,
Hmm.
the thing about going to a lot of these planes is it's not really because I'm not sure if you like are just bodily reincarnated there. It's kind of confusing. Like, are you in ghost form as you walk around? Are you like ethereal? Like, that's that's a debate. Like, I would love to have a discussion with the D&D designers about this, and just like talk about how that shit works. Because
Yeah.
some of it's obvious. Like in the Abyss and Inferno, I believe, one of the two you become a larva after a while. In like the Beastlands, after a while you turn into an animal, like that sort of thing.
Hmm.
So it's kind of so because in a lot of the evil planes, how evil creatures exist and procreate is because souls go there and they get turned into monsters.
Yeah. Okay then. So what we learned today is do not kill your party.
Well, yeah, because it's douchey.
Yeah. That's the biggest problem with it. It's self-centered and it's douchey. So, um, yeah. Are we going to finish it up?
um, yeah, it looks like we've gone through all of our topics and we hit this pretty effectively. So, yeah, that is our show for today. we will see you guys next week.